And good morning. Once again, we get together. Nice morning. Right now, 47 as we head for a high of 84. We're going to be in the 80s for the next 2 weeks, so be prepared for that. But nice and calm this morning. Great front porch sitting. Maybe you prefer the back porch. Whichever it is, it's good stuff. Glad to have you along with us as we begin this day. Greg will be in just a little bit. Dr. Alan Brown from the University of West Alabama will drop by for a visit a little later on this morning. We'll find out what he's got up his sleeve. Something must be up. Lots going on throughout the area this weekend as we celebrate Easter. Good Friday is on the way, and so many Easter egg hunts and Sunday morning services. I do hope you can make it to one somewhere. Do that. It's well worth it. We'll be right back as we get our good word for the week. Let's go to Collinsville now.
Easter is this coming Sunday, and I want to invite you to join us to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus at Collinsville First Baptist Church. This Sunday, we're going to have two identical Easter services, one at 8:30 a.m. and one at 10:30 a.m. And it would just thrill us to have you and your whole family to come and worship with us. We are continuing our Holy Week journey with Jesus, and today is Maundy Thursday, the day before Jesus was crucified. Maundy is a shortened version of the Latin word mandatum, and it simply means command. It is also where we get our English word mandate. It was on this day that Jesus celebrated the Passover with his disciples, and he instituted what we now know as the Lord's Supper. This is one of the ordinances of the Christian church. And it was also the day that Jesus washed the disciples' feet. He humbled himself before them and performed this selfless act, and he instructed the disciples to continue doing this for each other. On this same evening, Jesus told his disciples, he told them this in John chapter 13, verse 34. He said, "A new commandment I give to you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, all men will know that you are my disciples if you have love one for another." The love that believers share far exceeds anything the world has to offer, because the basis of this love, the standard of this love that we share, is found in how Jesus has loved us. The love Jesus shares with us is a perfect love. It's a pure love. It's holy. It is sacrificial. It's unconditional. It's only when we share this kind of love that we can fulfill the Great Commission that Jesus gave before he ascended into heaven. May we embrace this command, seeking to love one another as Jesus has loved us. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Good to see Lamar up and at 'em today. Bob asked about sunrise services. I do believe there's several in the area. I hadn't gotten a complete list of all the churches that are doing that, but I do believe that still happens. I know a lot used to go out to the reservoir, and it was quite nippy early in the morning as that breeze come off of that water. Well, I didn't realize this, but we have got Shad White a nickname nationwide. I don't know if everybody's heard this. One of the news articles now has him named Mississippi Musk. So if you happen to run into him, let him know that he has a new nickname there, Shad White. He's found over $400 million in state government waste. Remember that time someone tried to block him from being able to investigate people above him? They want him hushed, don't they? This is one of those I was not aware of because it's really close to us in a roundabout way. Alabama. The man is from there. He was in Tucson, Arizona, waiting for a bus. They had taken their daughter out. She had some type of medical, and they'd been there for quite some time in the hospital. They were coming home waiting for a bus to come back to Alabama, and he bent down, and a machete-wielding person struck him. Awful. He's struggling, but still alive. They've arrested the person that done that. I just here's and let me show this. This is his picture. Here he is with his little girl, and this is the accused person there. Daniel Michael was his name. My, oh my. The sadness of things that go on that we're not aware of. We wish him a full recovery. This caught my attention. I was a kid, but I do remember watching it nightly back in the day when you would watch that, what was it, Ted Koppel and things of that nature. Remember a little guy named Ross Perot? It is exactly what's going on. As he kept saying, my first day in office, I'll do this. And if I could remember to post this later today. This goes on for about 2.5 minutes here, where he's talking about tariffs. And it is the exact same thing that is happening at this exact moment in history. That was many, many moons ago. But as he described in that of a company paying $1 overseas and paying someone here more, he said they will continue to do that over there because they save so much money. They don't have to provide health care. They don't have to do this. They don't do that. And the tariffs makes it to where they can slip over there and do that and make more money. He said, make it equal. He said they'll bring those manufacturing jobs back to America. It's interesting. Ross Perot was that guy. He split the vote, if you remember, but man alive, he was ahead of his time. Ross Perot. I'll see if I can't get that up today. Do you see this where normally the bride is the one that makes it on time? I can remember, what was it, Shenandoah, get me to the church on the Cumberland Road. Guy wait late for his wedding. This would happen in Florida. Bride was stopped. Her driver had her running at 105 miles an hour. She was already 10 minutes late. The trooper did escort him to the church, but still gave a ticket and said he'd see him in court. Girl wanted to get married, didn't she? Third Pentagon official has been released over leaks. It's one of those jobs, if you work there, you can't talk. You can't get anything out. That's not good. You're right, Wesley. God is good. I agree with that. Let's see what else we got here. 10 this is tough here. 10 New York prison guards indicted. 2 will be charged with murder in connection to an inmate's beating death. I've seen portions of the video. It was pretty bad. 10 on 1 is what it was. And they continued and continued and continued. Never heard of this. We hear so much about planes, at least we have since January of this year. I don't know how that happened. It has most likely been going on forever, and we're not aware of it. But this time, this is odd. Plane is taking off from Dallas. I think it was headed to Australia, I think is where it was headed to. Alberta. It was headed to Canada is where it was going to go. It goes to take off, and somehow, I don't understand how, a bunny rabbit got in the engine. Fire was flying. They had to divert and come back. How did the bunny... I don't know. But he must have been a hopper, wasn't he? But caused a panic on the airplane, to say the least. And I know that y'all remember, her name was La'Etta James, Justice Department there. She was the New York Attorney General that came after Trump. She's in a little bit of hot water herself. Something over taxes in her house and borrowing, how she borrowed the money the way it was written up. They are on her like glue. Being turned over to the Department of Justice. We'll see if it goes anywhere. I often think about this guy because I did not see him at all during this presidential election. He was a huge ally back in 2016 to President Donald J. Trump. Oh, you know him. It's the guy that wears the cross. Mike Lindell, the pillow guy. Y'all know who I'm talking about? We really hadn't heard a lot from him. Every now and then I still see a commercial play. He stood before a judge this week and they demanded more money and more money. And he said, I'm broke. I can't pay it. They wanted $5,000 a month. He says, I can't pay it. I am broke. I have borrowed everything I can, and I can't make your payments. And this all goes back to those voting booths where he claimed that they were, fraudulent, so to speak. He was sued, and they were awarded a huge amount of money. He stood up for what he thought was right. He could have been. He was proven differently. And they're tearing him up. Now, whether or not his company goes under, I don't know, but personally, he is ruined. He goes on to do that. He's got till, I think, Friday of this week to prove that he can't pay this stuff. We wish him luck. He did take a stand in what he believed. Now, the whole world was against him, if you'll remember. This is going somewhere. There's 3 other states now joining West Virginia. I remember talking about West Virginia. Food stamps. Now, there's not a one of us that don't agree that there are point in times in life where people need help. You lose your job, and for the average person, 6 months you're ruined if you don't have a job. You've got deadlines, commitments, bills, house payments, children, and it's tough to stay afloat without a job. And food stamps come in to help those during these time of needs. They're going to be changing at least 4 states total. It started with West Virginia, to where you cannot buy drinks and candy with this, to where it would be actual food. Probably a good thing. Let's see who else is going to be doing this. Arkansas, Idaho, and Indiana will now join West Virginia in saying no more. It has to be actual food that you can take home and put on the table. Do you agree? I think most Americans will. As a kid, growing up, I worked at, I think a lot of you remember Taylor's Pack-a-Sack. I worked at Bailey Grocery as I was in college and radio to make ends meet and help pay for things, and buy that 3-cent piece of gum and get the change back, and then it would end up being, well, beer. Oh, y'all know that happens. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. That happened for many, many, many moons. It's changed to a debit card now. It's not the actual paper thing that I used to see, but a crackdown. We'll see where it goes and see if that happens. Bob, you're right. Sanders is one tough cookie, the governor of Arkansas. I've never seen a woman take as much mistreatment nationwide as we watched all along, to where women's rights, where people would get mad if you said the wrong thing, but not when it come to her. They picked on her, called her ugly names, called her obese, and no one stood up for her. Not on the national level, anyway. It was a downright embarrassment across America to have that take place. I don't care who you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Maybe you don't vote. You don't deserve anything like that. Puerto Rico lost all power. I've often talked to folks that are there. Power sometimes is hard to keep going. That did happen there. As we go back to El Salvador, Maryland senator, he's catching flack. Now, he's a Democrat. If you'll remember, if you've looked into any of this stuff, he's this guy that is over there is not quite the guy that everybody thinks he is. The Senator Chris Van Hollen, he's a Democrat, flew there, demanded a meeting with the president to let this guy out of jail. They said, no, we're not meeting with you. Now, this is the same guy that also voted against Lakin, if you will remember that. Lakin-Riley Act. He voted against that. It's not going well for him. And as more criminal reports come out about this guy over there, I think America will sway, or at least I think it will. We'll see. Speaking of El Salvador, that prison they're sending them all to, they're talking about doubling the size of it to fit more people in there. Imagine that. Donald is suggesting that we do have a few Americans who haven't been on the good list. Maybe they're on the naughty list that should be sent there. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I think it will make a change. We have gotten so used to in America where nothing happens if you do something wrong. Go stand in the corner. You get to come out and you've done nothing. Nothing's happened to you. It needs to be a little bit Missouri, the show me state. You do wrong, this is what happens to you. It really is a deterrent. It truly is. It's kind of like getting a spanking instead of standing in the corner. It gets your attention. We'll see what becomes of it there. This is one of those feel-good stories. Greg often brags about his dog. I love my 2 dogs. A little boy went missing. This was in Arizona. And this is how quickly, as we've all been a part of searches for children. A mother was changing a diaper. A father was hammering something in the house, and the 2-year-old boy disappeared. Within 2 minutes, they lost sight of him, couldn't find him. They would search all night, Little boy was found 7 miles from home. 7 miles. You know how he got out? A puppy dog. Puppy dog found him and took him back to somebody's house. Pretty impressive there. That was a good story. Had a good ending. But think about that. Of all of the areas that have been searched, 7 miles, 2 years old. That little fellow was traveling, wasn't he? Now, we don't have much about this story here, but we see where another 10-year-old boy was found. He had recently underwent a kidney transplant. He also went missing. They're not telling who, what, or why, but he's been found safe. That's good. I like turnouts like that. They've arrested somebody that tried to get on an Amtrak. They're saying he had a small arsenal with him. Doesn't sound like they were really up to any good, does it? That's the way it looks to me. I don't know what could have went wrong here, what went on, but Washington State is where we go for this next headline. If you've got elderly parents, check on them. And what I mean by that is make sure you know who they're dealing with, as in who they hire to cut the grass, who they hire to do trim work or do odd repairs around the house. An 82-year-old woman's body has been found under concrete. They've arrested the handyman inside her shed. Now, what went on, we don't know, but he's been arrested and charged. We'll see where it leads. We go to Alabama for our next story this morning. This is one of those tragedies. I think we've all... Smith Lake. I don't know if you've heard of that. 3 boats collided. We have 3 people dead. You just don't think of boats hitting each other. You don't think a lot about that, but that did happen there. Let's see what else we've got here. Pennsylvania. Now, I think he ought to call. I don't know the rest of the story here, but the Pennsylvania governor the governor's mansion was burned, says he has not heard from Trump yet. I figured Trump would call. He's usually a guy that does stuff like that. We'll see. Let's see what else is happening this morning. Well, we've got a Florida teacher and principal in trouble that threw a party at their house. They were all minors. 100 minors were at the party. They're going to be charged with contributing to the delinquents of a minor. Can't do that. There might have been a time in America, but those days are gone. You just can't do that. Diane, good morning to you. We'll be right back as we'll get into your forecast. That's a few of the headlines that are shaping America this morning. Quite a lot out there, isn't it? Oh, and pro soccer player Aaron Budapest, if I pronounced his name right, 28 years old, has fell dead. We don't know what the cause of it is. They're searching that. Now, oh, wait a minute. Let me back up. I do know. This is tragic. Fell 11 stories from a building. I had the 2 stories confused. 11 stories. Almost like Eric Clapton's son who fell from a building. Y'all remember that? Awful, awful, awful. We'll be right back with your forecast.
Celebrating our 7th anniversary, Al's Garden and Gift is excited to share the beautiful colors of spring with you. Beautiful bedding and vegetable plants, hanging baskets, roses, ferns, shrubs, and fruit trees to help you enjoy the season. Spruce up lawn and flower beds with fresh sod, mulch, soils, and pine straw. Then brighten your day with unique gifts, candles, gourmet food items, flags, wind chimes, planters, fountains, custom wreaths, and so much more. Spring is here at Al's Garden and Gift. Bloom with happiness.
We welcome you to a new vehicle buying experience here at Doc's Toyota. Buying a new vehicle doesn't have to be stressful, but don't just take our word for it.
This was the best experience I've ever had buying a vehicle.
Doc's employees are top-notch.
I drove 2 hours, not once, but twice, to purchase 2 vehicles with a 5-month time frame.
Doc's delivers competitive pricing, a comprehensive selection, and flexible financing options, helping you get on the road from Carthage, Meridian, and beyond. There's a reason why there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome back as we look at our record highs and record lows. Anybody remember 55? Made some good cars that year. It was 90 degrees. As we go back to 51, it was a cool day. 32 is what we had. Here's our best chance of weather today. 84 for a high. We'll hit 82 in Columbus. As we go through Greenwood down through the river there, we'll make it to Natchez at about 84. As we go to Bama, we see that over in Auburn, 79. That's the only 7s that you'll see there other than Hamilton. Jasper, Birmingham around 81, and Demopolis will be somewhere between 82 to 83 today. Nice weather either way there. Now, here's what's coming on Sunday. This will be Sunday night after dark into Easter. As we look at this, a chance of severe weather. Now, all the worst of the weather lies at the Mississippi River. From Greenwood down to Vicksburg, from Vicksburg to Jackson is a level 1. So at this point, East Mississippi is not included in this. But we'll watch this to see if this changes. Usually this stuff will drift a little bit more eastward. As of right now, we've just got rain in the forecast and no severe weather for here. But we do have a little bit showing up there in Leake County and just a tiny portion of Winston County. We'll watch this storm as it gets closer to us there. Warmer weather is forecasted, as you'll see it here, hot across Mississippi and the deep south down to Florida. Now, our 7-day outlook calls for 83 today. 84, however you want to word that. 87 tomorrow as it warms up for Friday and Saturday. Over the weekend, it'll be nice during Sunday services, about 85, and we'll be after dark before the rain reaches us, bringing some rain Monday into the forecast. We'll see if that extends and we get any severe weather out of that. As we look to Tuesday, still rain chances, and Wednesday, as we go on all the way through Friday, slight rain chances each day. So we could have a wet one next week. We'll keep you up to date on all of that. All the way through the May the 1st. Look at that. 87.
Our 70s are about gone.
Yeah, our 70s are about gone, and the groundhog was wrong. We didn't get anything that he was predicting, did we? I think he made a show and made a fool of us all. As we look at our best fishing times today, don't forget the wind's going to be light south, increasing 5 to 10. The wind's going to get gusty by this afternoon, about 20 miles an hour. It's not going to be great for hairdos late in the afternoon. I may have to chase my cowboy hat again across parking lots. I got a bend in the one I keep in my truck due to that. Major times to fish today is this afternoon around 3:30. Should be good to about 5:30. And a minor time this morning starting off at 8:30 till about 9:30. Now, sunrise is getting better and better. 6:22 this morning it hit. Sunset, 7:26. It's getting later and later each day. It gives you an opportunity to do a whole lot more around the house. We'd like to say a big thank you to WMOX Radio for joining us this morning as we shake this off. Beautiful morning. I can see the sunshine coming through the window out there. Sometimes you can't say sunshine, Greg. Try to say that fast 3 times.
What about Worcestershire?
I ain't saying Worcester, however you sauce. Hey, Worcestershire. How you do it?
Wash your sister sauce.
Wash your sister sauce. I can't pronounce that word. I stick with Uncle Bob or whatever his name is when it comes to my steak sauce. I like that stuff. We'll be right back as we'll get your morning underway. Thank you for joining us, inviting us into your home, your cars, wherever you may be this morning. Thank you so much. We'll be back shortly.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.